talked about how brutal the 115 cuts were. You're, one day out from weigh-ins. Just how different do you feel right now?
I feel fantastic. I woke up this morning, feel great. I drank 2 gallons of water yesterday, and I'm feeling great. The cut to 125 is going to be a piece of cake, and that alone is like the highlight of my week,
Right.
like so far. And then I'm going to have my like highlight of my weekend is going to be my victory, but the highlight of the week is definitely the cut.
It's almost the theme of this card. We have Anthony Pettis moving up the weight class in the main event and stuff. He just talks about how in training camp, so much of the focus used to be just on the weight cut, making the weight, and now you can actually focus on strategy, building your skills. Can you kind of echo those sentiments?
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that we can focus on what we are here to do, it's way better. Obviously, it's like a process for everyone, but I've heard of a lot of fighters, Anthony Pettis, Anthony Smith, several of us have decided to go up, and I mean, it's less of cutting and more of, performance.
We'll give you your nickname. I know you're.
It's kind of come about. The future has just kind of came from everyone, we went through this phase of like trying to figure out a nickname, and then one day it just like stuck, and there wasn't like one specific that I can remember, but just kind of like people started calling me the future, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of like that, and to me it reminds me, that no matter how far you go or how far you make it, there's still something else to have for the better. There's always something new or something to grow in.
So that's one you think can stick around for your entire career, because you have like
people are like, well, you're gonna have to do like the now, and like you're gonna have to have this. I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. It's I just did an interview earlier, and I was talking about the journey, like the process, like it's like a whole TV series. You can't just watch the beginning and watch the end. You have to watch the whole thing. So I'm not gonna try to pick the ending. I'm gonna let it come as it goes.
That's very good explanation.
You seem pretty happy with the weight cut, obviously. How long do you intend to stick around 125?
Same thing. I was talking about this earlier. Probably like 3 or 4 fights, But again, I don't know. It depends on how my body responds, and working with the Performance Institute has been huge. So talking with them, just continuing to talk with those guys and see where they see it going. Because at the end of the day, I'm working with them, and it's not just my choice, because I'm not the smartest person when it comes to weight cuts. I'm going to pick the professionals, and I'm going to listen to what they say. So that'd be something that we'd have to talk to them about as well.
So would you more or less call like the people at the PI your nutrition team and stuff? Because I know you've had some bad experiences with certain people.
Is that
kind of your team right now, more or less?
Those are the guys that are helping me. Clint Wattenberg is who I've been using for this cut, and I just talked to him last night. I have had past nutritionists that have led me down the wrong path, but I can't just jumble them all together. So there are nutritionists that put me in a bad spot, but there's also nutritionists that help me and were telling me the same thing. They're like, hey, you need to get better and change this and that, but no one really put their foot down until Clint. But with that being said, when I was working with Ian and Tim, I mean, every cut that I had with them, I cut with them 4 times, and every cut was great. It was just the week of, we made weight, and I felt amazing. But the whole dieting to that weight the problem was that I never got reverse dieted out of what I was at. So the damage that had been done previously never got fixed. And that's not saying that they're bad nutritionists. It's just saying that I never was fixed from where I was at. So that's not throwing shade on them. That's just saying that the process never happened for me to recover. So until we did the testing at the Performance Institute when I got signed with the UFC, I mean, the fact that I can go and test now and see the numbers and have them put their foot down and be like, all right, the numbers don't lie, right? So if they show you the numbers, they're like, you have to fix this, then that is what helped me be able to reverse. But no one was able to show me the numbers because we never did those tests. So I wouldn't say that anyone specifically did that to me, aside from the first nutritionist that I was working with when I was put on a 500-calorie diet. I mean, that's the one that really damaged my body. And then no one being able to put the numbers in front of me and say this is what we need to fix is the reason why I am, or I was where I was at.
I think JJ brought up you guys were both from Colorado. Kind of might have some training sessions way back when, maybe.
Yeah.
What are those like? And how is kind of growing up in Colorado being?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Colorado, and I believe she was too. That's super cool. It's fun to fight. I fought a lot of girls from Colorado just because that's the local promotion, and then LFA that kind of keep us in a local setting and fighting other girls who are from that state. But in terms of her, when I was training with her, I was like 16, I want to say 17. So I was fairly young, but I was in the camp with her and like Rose and several of the girls. So I mean, I got a lot of good work, and but I couldn't speak from that because in terms of like, oh, the fight's gonna go down this way because of this training session, or like I feel like I have this edge over her, she has this edge over me. It's not that way because I've been training for however many years to get to where I'm at, and she's been training however many years to get to where she's at. So we're completely different people than we were back then. And I mean, we're both way better of athletes than we were back then. So I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm going to always go out for the finish. And I'm just excited. I mean, she's tough upon it. She's definitely the toughest girl and the most well-rounded fighter I've probably fought, and solid fighter that I fought to date. So I'm just excited. We worked hard for this and sacrificed a lot of our lives for this. My whole family, my whole team, everyone that's put in the work. And this is just our time to have fun and go out and dominate.
I know you want to fight with Mackenzie Dern, but she is not going to be available anytime soon. Was that obviously happy for her and everything?
Absolutely, yeah.
Are you
I'm excited
disappointed
for
that
her.
that's off the table for at least a
No,
little while?
I'm not bummed at all. And the only reason why I wanted to fight her was because of LFA. I mean, I wanted to fight her in LFA, and that's always going to be a great story. If someone calls out someone from LFA when they were in another promotion and they were kind of like ducking them, but yeah, I mean, now that she's having a baby and she's got a life, I'm excited for her on this next piece of her journey. So I have nothing bad to say about that. I mean, that's exciting for her. And if she comes back to fighting, then that's, again, props to her because Michelle Watterson, I mean, she's a solid fighter, and she fights for her daughter and for her family. And I think that could be another beneficial thing for Mackenzie if she does decide to fight again is the fact that she has someone else who she's fighting for and to benefit. So if she was to come back, I think it might make her a better fighter if she continues to work hard. But life is crazy, and a kid can change a lot. So we'll see.
Yeah, assuming she does come back, can you see the upside of it maybe not happening in LFA? Like, you guys were so young in your careers, and
For
it's
sure.
like you could look down the road, maybe this is a title fight in a couple of years or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff to build off of that, like the whole, oh, she was ducking her in LFA, and now it's, the build-up, and now you're in UFC, and there's no ducking me now, like, you could totally build that up. But, yeah, we'll see. It's exciting, but who knows?
Is Paige Van Zandt still a fight of interest now, especially if you get through this one?
I mean, every fighter who has a huge following is a fight of interest. Come on. But I don't even care. As long as I get to go out and fight and put on dominant performances and put on entertaining performances that people want to watch, I don't even care who it is.
So Dana White earlier this week was mentioning kind of future stars of the UFC, and your name was in the list. How do you feel about that?
I was super excited. I mean, that's an honor. I mean, even though I'm confident, I'm like, that's where I deserve to be. That's where I need to be. That's darn right. That's where I mean, but I mean, that's a huge honor to have one of the top person in the UFC mention your own name in a sit down with Megan Levy and give you credit and notoriety. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better start to my week. I even told them that. I'm like, that was like the best start to my week. I got to send that to everyone in my family. I'm like, check this out. And it's like, it just made you happy. It's a little bit of a confidence boost. And people are asking about the pressure. Like, does that add a lot of pressure? I'm like, no, really, it doesn't. If anything, it brings more eyes, and it's part of it, It's exciting.
You more or less are putting pressure on yourself with the nickname. You want to be the youngest champion and everything. Like, it seems like this is kind of what you thrive off.
Pressure builds diamonds. I'm a diamond. So
how many fights do you see yourself having before you're in a title fight or have that belt?
That's a good question. I don't know. As long as I stay relevant and continue to fight, put on performances, I'm not in no rush. You know, it's the same. Going back to that TV show series, you know, you can't skip to the end and just check out who dies and who lives. You know, you have to see the entire thing. You have to watch the entire story and process. And if you don't watch it, you don't get the entertainment. So, you know, and if you skip episodes, you miss bits and pieces, and they're the important ones. So, who knows? You know, I could have 1, 2, 3, however many fights, but I have 2 years and like 9, almost 10 months to break this record, and I guarantee I'll be fighting for a title way long before that. But how many fights in between, I have no idea.
Do you see Hannah's second UFC fight and the fact that she?
I did. I was so excited for her.
Yeah.
I was so pumped. I even after that fight, I went up to her hotel room and we talked for probably an hour. I mean, she's really cool. Like, a lot of people, you know, ask like, why you're so quiet, and that's just who she is. You know, I mean, I think she's an awesome person, and I was super excited to see the fact that she just went out there when a lot of people are like, oh, you know, she's just gonna get, you know, another fight, another loss, and I didn't see that because I know how tough she is. I was in the cage with her, and you know, she was just kept coming forward, and a lot of those strikes that I hit her with, you know, you'd think would put her away, and I mean, Polyana was tough too, but Hannah's just another, you know, she's that fighter that, you know, nobody expects to win. But you know, like, if you know her, you're gonna know that she's gonna come out with a victory, and she's not someone to take lightly.
Yeah, we have a tough time getting her out of her shell. What is she doing after a fight? After she wins, is she like partying in the hotel room?
No, I mean she's kind of like me. So in a way, you know, I'm a family person, but I'm also not a super quiet person, like, because of the way I grew up. Well, she's a family person, but she also grew up a little bit differently. She grew up like I grew up, but around a little less people in a smaller town. So, you know, she was just in the back with her mom and enjoying life and enjoying the celebration and her coaches. And yeah, we talked for quite a bit, and she was telling me some good stories. And I'm like, man, I want to come out to North Carolina and visit you. But yeah, she's not the kind of partier. She's just she's a good person to be around. And I don't know what the word is. She's just like a genuine person, and I think she's going to be good in the sport.
Is that kind of what makes the sport so special? You know, you guys have to fight, and then now you're hanging out in the hotel room trading stories.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't expect it. Yeah, you probably wouldn't expect it, and there's a lot of girls that you probably wouldn't ever do that with. But I have a lot of respect for her, and I wanted to tell her that. You know, I wanted to go up to her room and say that to her. I'm like, you know, a lot of people, and she knew it too, and she's like, a lot of people know I don't talk a lot, and that's fine. You know, the people that are gonna like you, there's a Dr. Seuss quote, it's be who you are and say what you feel, because the people who mind don't matter, and the people who matter don't mind. You know, and that's exactly how I view life, and I think that's how she views life. And people are gonna hate her for not talking, or people are gonna love her for not talking, and it's just who she is. And people better start appreciating people for the way they are, and if you don't, then you're just, you know, you're kind of ignorant.
You mentioned 3 or 4 more fights at 125, and you still are on that timeline to be the youngest champion ever. Do you envision getting that belt at 125 or at 115 or 135?
Yes.
135,
man. But yes. 125, 135, I don't care. Or sorry, 125, I'm a weight cut, okay? No, I'm kidding. 115 or 125, I don't really mind either way. Again, it's the process, it's the nutrition, it's the talking to those guys that'll help me figure that out.